Doria Ragland didn't just make a comment, she dropped a bomb that shook the Markle world to its core. One quiet conversation, one shocking family revelation, and suddenly, Meghan's picture-perfect life began to crumble. For years, Doria had been Meghan's anchor, calm, elegant, and unshakably loyal. The image of her sitting alone at that royal wedding wasn't just powerful, it was symbolic. She was the silent strength behind the Duchess. But now, that same woman has become the source of a secret so explosive, it's threatening to destroy everything Meghan built. Insiders say it began with a single confession, a truth about their family Meghan never wanted the world to know. What did Doria say that sent her daughter into a spiral of fury? Why did she suddenly pack her bags, leave Montecito, and walk out of that multi-million-dollar mansion without a word? Those close to the family claim this wasn't just a disagreement, it was a breaking point. A mother who'd stayed quiet for too long finally spoke up. And when she did, she shattered the illusion of control Meghan had fought so hard to maintain. Because this isn't just another royal feud, it's a story of betrayal, pride, and a mother saying, enough. Doria's confession didn't just expose a hidden truth, it exposed how fragile Meghan's so-called perfect image really is. The world saw a fairytale, the Hollywood actress who won a prince and reinvented royalty. But behind the scenes? It was a kingdom built on silence, secrecy, and a mother-daughter bond under unbearable strain. For years, Doria was more than just the quiet mother in the background. She was Meghan's only confidant, the gatekeeper who decided who got close and who got cut out. Thomas Markle? Banished. Samantha? Blasted. Thomas Jr.? Forgotten. And now, for the first time, it seems Doria herself has stepped out of Meghan's shadow and into the spotlight with a truth that could change everything. Doria Ragland was the last line standing between Meghan and total isolation. And then, something shifted. What once looked like an unbreakable mother-daughter bond began to show fractures in public view. Those rare appearances, at the Invictus Games, in the glossy Netflix documentary, or at carefully orchestrated family outings, started to feel uneasy. Doria's smile no longer reached her eyes. Her posture grew tense, her warmth dulled. The glow that once made her Meghan's emotional anchor had quietly faded. Behind the scenes, whispers began to swirl through Montecito. Insiders claimed Doria had reached her breaking point, tired of being paraded as a prop in Meghan's never-ending PR reinventions. Every time the Duchess's image needed softening, Doria was summoned, bathed in soft lighting, speaking in her gentle, soothing tone, always at the perfect moment. But away from the cameras, the calm had turned to confrontation. There were arguments, slammed doors, and tears. The mother who had once held her daughter together was now the one pushing back, tired of the control, the constant spin, and the silence she was expected to keep. And then, one quiet evening, everything changed. Doria said the one thing Meghan never thought she would, a truth, buried deep in their family history, that was never meant to see daylight. A secret Meghan had fought to erase from her story, a detail that didn't fit the royal narrative she'd built so carefully. The moment those words left her mother's mouth, Meghan's composure shattered. For a woman who lives by control, that secret wasn't just personal, it was dangerous. It threatened to unravel the empire she'd built on image, sympathy, and silence. The fairytale was cracking. And from that moment on, nothing between them would ever be the same again. To truly understand how deep the fracture runs, you have to go back to where it all began, May 19, 2018. St. George's Chapel. The royal wedding that captured the world. 600 guests in attendance, millions more watching in awe as the American actress became a duchess. But amidst the grandeur and the royal spectacle, there was one striking image that told a different story. Doria Ragland, sitting completely alone. No family beside her. No cousins, no siblings, not even a familiar face from Meghan's past. That single seat wasn't a coincidence, it was a statement. Meghan had cut out everyone but her mother, constructing a picture-perfect moment for the cameras, but one built entirely on isolation. And in that moment, while the world was swept up in the fairy tale, insiders say Doria was carrying the silent burden of it all, the family's dignity, its secrets, its pain. She wasn't just the proud mother of the bride. She was the keeper of the truth. And when the Thomas Markle scandal erupted, the staged paparazzi photos, the tabloid chaos, the global embarrassment, that truth became heavier than ever. Doria stayed silent then. But silence has an expiration date. And when it finally broke, so did everything Meghan thought she could control. 5 days before the royal wedding, the palace was in full-blown crisis mode. The glossy fairytale was slipping, and fast. Meghan's father had backed out, tabloids were circling, and the royal PR machine was on fire. At the last minute, Prince Charles had to step in to walk Meghan down the aisle, a move that saved face for the firm but left Doria Ragland standing in the shadow of her ex-husband's humiliation. For Doria, it wasn't just awkward, it was heartbreaking. She bore the embarrassment quietly, holding her head high, calm, composed, and alone. The picture of dignity. But silence always has a cost. Behind that graceful exterior, Doria was already uneasy. She'd watched her daughter's world become smaller, colder, more controlled. The secrecy, the spin, the deliberate distance from family, it all worried her. Doria could feel the storm coming. She knew Meghan wasn't prepared for what would happen once the cameras stopped flashing, once the applause faded and the tiaras were locked away. Because beneath the glamour and global headlines, there was no royal safety net. There was just Meghan, Harry, and Doria, trapped between a royal family that never truly accepted them and a daughter who seemed to be losing herself to the story she created. That lonely seat at St. George's Chapel wasn't just a seat. It was a warning, one Meghan refused to see. Fast forward to 2025. The fairytale sheen is gone. The Netflix buzz has faded. Hollywood, once eager to embrace Meghan, has grown quiet. Projects stalled. Podcasts cancelled. Public sympathy slipping away. And in the middle of it all, Doria Ragland finally decides to speak, not in an interview or a tell-all, but in the one place Meghan couldn't control, her own home. A private conversation in Montecito that would change everything. It began softly. A mother's concern, a plea for peace. Doria had watched her daughter fight battle after battle, with family, the press, the palace, and even herself. She told Meghan, gently, that maybe it was time to stop. To stop fighting. To tell the truth. To make peace with her past. For a moment, there was silence. And then came the sentence. The one that turned a quiet heart-to-heart into a storm. According to insiders, Doria revealed something Meghan had fought to bury, a truth about her family's past, one that rewrites the narrative the Duchess has carefully sold to the world. Something tied to Meghan's early years, her father's side, and a timeline that doesn't quite fit the story she's told. No one outside that house knows exactly what Doria said. But the aftermath speaks volumes. Meghan, reportedly, exploded, shouting, crying, accusing her mother of betrayal. She said Doria had no right to dig up the past. That everything was already handled. Handled. That single word says it all, cold, final, and controlled. It's the word of someone who built an empire on managing every detail, every narrative, every emotion. But for the first time, Meghan couldn't handle this. Not her mother's truth. Not the cracks in her story. Not the realization that the one person she trusted most might also be the one person capable of breaking her illusion completely. Because for Meghan, control isn't optional, it's survival. Every photo, every headline, every whispered story about her life has been handpicked and polished to perfection. Every smile rehearsed, every silence strategic. Control is how she breathes. And in one quiet conversation, Doria shattered that rhythm. Within days, neighbors in Montecito noticed something was off. Doria's car, gone from the driveway. No friendly waves. No visits. No trace. She'd left quietly, without an announcement, without a goodbye. The same woman who once stood proudly beside Meghan at every major moment, the Invictus Games, the Netflix premiere, the charity galas, was suddenly missing. No appearance at the Invictus anniversary event she was supposed to attend. No statement. Just silence. Publicly, Meghan's team moved fast. Family privacy, they said. A personal matter. But insiders tell a very different story, a total break. Mother and daughter, no longer on speaking terms. And whatever Doria had revealed was powerful enough to destroy the one relationship Meghan thought she could always control. It didn't take long for the whispers to begin. At first, it was subtle, unnamed sources close to the Sussex Circle suggesting Doria was simply taking time for herself. But then came the photo. A grainy paparazzi shot splashed across entertainment blogs. Doria Ragland in Los Angeles, alone. No Meghan. No Harry. No Archie. No Lilibet. Just Doria, walking quietly, head down, far from the Montecito mansion that had once felt like home. Within hours, the tabloids went into a feeding frenzy. What happened between Meghan and her mother? The perfect image of the unbreakable mother-daughter duo, the symbol of love, unity, and strength Meghan had built her brand around, was crumbling in real time. And Meghan panicked. Her PR team kicked into overdrive. Statements were drafted, crisis calls made. A flurry of sources popped up, all echoing the same vague reassurance: everything is fine. Meghan even posted a perfectly timed Instagram photo: sunshine, her kids, a garden in bloom, and a soft caption about family first. But the internet wasn't buying it. Comment sections exploded. Where's Doria? Why did she leave? Why now? And then came the leaks. One entertainment blog claimed Doria had been approached for a major new royal documentary, one promising to tell the real story of Meghan's rise. Not the glossy fairytale version. The truth. Suddenly, Meghan's world, once built on control and careful storytelling, felt like it was spinning beyond her reach. Another report hinted that even Meghan's own staff had started quietly leaking details to the press, desperate to protect themselves in case the truth ever came out. And just like that, the story spiraled out of control. Podcasts began dissecting every whisper. YouTubers slowed down clips from the Netflix documentary, analyzing every smile, every glance, every awkward pause between Meghan and Doria. What once looked like a story of strength and unity now seemed to hide something deeper, something darker. Soon, the question Meghan hates most began echoing across social media. What is she hiding? Behind closed doors, Meghan was livid. According to insiders, she called emergency meetings, reinforced NDAs, and ordered her inner circle to get the story back under control. But there was one problem even her best PR team couldn't fix: she couldn't silence her own mother. If Doria ever chose to speak publicly, even for a single interview, everything Meghan had built, the image, the brand, the global sympathy, could crumble overnight. So, Meghan did what she always does best: she pivoted. Suddenly, new charity events appeared on the calendar. Fresh paparazzi photos showed her holding hands with Harry, smiling through the California sunshine. Carefully staged images of the perfect couple, perfectly in love. But this time, something was missing, that quiet voice of calm that always grounded her. Doria. Without her, the whole act feels hollow. The warmth is gone, replaced by something rehearsed, distant. Meghan can't fix this with another Instagram post or another podcast soundbite. Because if Doria's silence ever breaks, even once, the illusion might collapse for good. Maybe, just maybe, Doria's secret wasn't meant to expose Meghan, but to free her. To pull her daughter back from a life that's become more performance than reality. Because when your life turns into a brand, even love starts to feel scripted. The world is watching. The story is still unfolding. Mother and daughter. Truth and image. Reality and control. Which side will win when the cameras stop rolling? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. Because this story? It's only just beginning.